What's up, guys? It is Dan and Nick back with another episode of F1 2021 Co-op Career Mode in the Williams. We're in Mexico today, a race which was totally cursed for us last season. Ended up with half the field DNFing after a first lap incident and subsequent safety cars causing absolute havoc. Now, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell before we get started with this race so you can see all of the latest uploads and of course the climactic finale coming in just a few days time. Moving on to the grid order now. Mexico, it's not quite as mad as it was last time out, but we are starting with Max Verstappen and his former teammate Daniel Ricciardo on the front row in the McLaren, followed by Lewis Hamilton, Lando Norris, Sergio Perez, Yuki Tsunoda, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, and me. Fernando Alonso, Justin Freshpot, Esteban Ocon, Nicholas Latifi, Antonio Giovinazzi, Lance Stroll, Valtteri Bottas, George Russell, and once again at the back, it is Mick Schumacher and Nikita Mazepin. Now it's time to get on with the race.
It's the Mexican Grand Prix, Spain of America as they call it. Justin Freshpot starting 12th.
Championship leader.
Incredible starting ahead of him.
Championship leader Sergio Perez starting 5th. Can he win another race? Probably. He's won quite a lot of them this year. Coming down to turn 1. It was an absolute pile up here last year. Not such this time. Radiant Slothz losing out. Justin Freshpot, a big winner there as he goes on the exact line. Of course, the clearest line.
Racing line.
The clearest line, which is off the track. He gets up into P8.
To make the apex, as he's hounded now by the cars behind him.
That's Radiant Slothz now.
Over the sausage curve.
Radiant Slothz gets past Carlos Sainz, and I've forgotten where he started. I think it was 12. He hits the Ferrari, cuts its wheel very slightly, and runs P11. That is nearly 2 Williams in the points. Fernando Alonso sitting in front of him, going incredibly slowly through this section.
Still unable to overtake despite how slow the Alpine is going, as is the pace of that Williams driver. He looks to crash into him.
Goes
he
up
almost
the
hits his front wing.
Gets past 2 Williams in the points, and 2 Williams is dangerously close to each other after their collision in the previous race at the United States of America. Hamilton.
I wouldn't say their collision, I would say Radiant Slothz crashing into Justin Freshpot.
2 former world champions in the pits. Lewis Hamilton continues his poor streak with a lap 1 incident. Fernando Alonso also in. We rejoin on lap 4. Radiant Slothz being chased by Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari. The Ferrari trying to make one overtake this season.
It's an easy one.
He has managed to do it. That Ferrari seems to be running far less downforce, and it's a lock-up.
Radiant Slothz, I don't even know what happened there. He somehow spun before the corner.
I think he locked the rears
massively.
It looks to me as though he had his brake pressure set too high and was unable to stop the car. He's blown out, his engine exploded.
He's missed the apex again. Almost spun.
Oh god, the smoke causing havoc with the rear downforce.
Latifi being given bronchitis here as Radiant Slothz chokes out the Mexican Grand Prix and somehow still faster than the Alpine in a straight line. I'm not sure how that works. That Renault engine must be secretly developed by Peugeot as he blinds Esteban Ocon.
Williams
makes it round the corner this time.
Williams, of course, experimenting with their new steam engine, and it seems to be working quite well at blinding everybody. Also choking Esteban Ocon to death as he drops back from oxygen deprivation. Of course, the air is very thin here already, without Radiant Slothz pumping carbon monoxide into his lungs. Somehow is able to get that past into fresh air, but not for long, says Radiant Slothz. He wants him to choke. Nearly hits the back of him and gets past on the DRS straight. Will he maintain position? Coming down, he does, and Esteban Ocon returns to the land of bronchitis sitting behind that Williams. Here's the onboard.
Something you get from smoke, but he's probably been given it anyway.
He did not make contact with the Alpine, despite jeers from the crowd claiming that he did.
Justin Freshpot wipes out an innocent bollard and leaves it in the middle of the pit lane as he comes in for his first stop to get rid of those soft tyres.
The bollard's wife looks on in complete agony at the death of her bollard husband. Justin Freshpot continues with no regard for the family. That bollard had a paid job.
The radio saying he's got a job to do.
There goes.
There will always be casualties as Radiant Slothz smokes her down the pit lane.
There he goes, steaming his way past, and Justin Freshpot now chases Esteban Ocon, who is probably close to passing out. There's a yellow flag, probably for the smoke screen that's being pumped out into the stadium right now by Radiant Slothz.
I have to say, it is inappropriate for the stewards to allow this race to continue as another bollard is wiped out and he collects the bollard that Justin Freshpot previously dumped in the middle of the pit lane.
Justin Freshpot gets past a few more people in the pit lane. There ahead of him is Daniel Ricciardo.
Will he get the McLaren going into turn one? He will not. Will he get the Alpine? He tries.
They came together here last year. Oh, they've touched again at the same corner. Radiant Slothz is coming out of the pit lane.
Choking the pit crews.
All of the pit wall are dead right now, and he comes out behind the 7-time world champion.
Justin Freshpot now pedal to the metal as he tries to catch Daniel Ricciardo. He's surprisingly far ahead of Esteban Ocon, who may have damage from hitting Justin Freshpot.
Busy pit lane exit.
Pile out pit lane.
Sergio Perez.
It's going to be a very busy turn one here.
Perez has climbed the order significantly.
McLaren cuts up the Williams. The Williams looks to the inside. There's not a lot of room there given from Lando Norris. Hopefully
close.
These two won't be battling two better cars next season, or they might come to blows. As Lando Norris looks to get back past Yuki Tsunoda, thinking, I hope these two idiots crash into each other.
Yuki Tsunoda, of course, looking to regain some significance after a dry spell from his early wins of the season. As oh god, here comes Radiant Slothz again.
Radiant Slothz polluting as much as possible here. No one knows quite for sure what is coming out of the back of that engine, but it is not good for the environment.
All we know is that they've called the engine the Trump model.
The two cars in front of him here going very slowly.
That's Charles Leclerc on the hard tyre for no apparent reason. He did not make an early stop like Lewis Hamilton. He just decided to put them on. Maybe the Ferrari's not very good on the tyre wet, as Justin Freshpot now.
Building a gap
track
to
extending.
Lando Norris, not the track extend. He takes the racing line. Everyone knows the racing line is the fastest line around the corner.
Lando Norris
he is doing that.
Making gains. They're celebrating lap 11 in the Mexican stands. Of course, lap 11.
Mexicans setting off the confetti.
They love the number 11.
The British flags are waving in the crowd.
Lando Norris lines up. He's going to pursue down the pit straight. Yuki Tsunoda also going to look to capitalise here. He's getting closer. He's gaining. He's got past. Up the inside. Defends Justin Freshpot, and he does keep his position temporarily. There will be another chance for Norris.
For another podium.
Yuki Tsunoda also looking. Justin Freshpot still able to hold it just ahead of the McLaren, who could be on the hard tyres, or it could be a trick of the light.
Radiant Slothz smoking his way through Sector 2 here. A track extend.
Smaller than Justin Freshpot's. Lewis Hamilton desperately trying to stay ahead, saying that his lungs are pure and smokeless and wishes to remain that way for as long as humanly possible. However, with that early stop, he's on very worn hard tyres, much slower than Radiant Slothz, and I don't think he's going to be able to defend even from a Williams.
Lewis Hamilton here could be embarrassing for his career to be overtaken by the worst driver in Formula 1 history.
Radiant Slothz hooks it round the outside, blasts Lewis Hamilton with a good dose of smoke. Oh, he's getting a full dose of it right in the face.
Not sure if it's been
can't even see him.
Has DNF from the race, so this hurts Radiant Sloth's chances of winning the DNF championship.
The colour of Lewis Hamilton changing from silver to black as the soot from his engine coats the car. As he now flies down the pit straight, he hasn't been able to break DRS from Hamilton. Hamilton having a look, gets a good gasp of fresh air. He's going to have to hold his breath for a little while longer, I think. Radiant Slothz nearly rear ends him. And is going to try and get past once again. Let's see what you're going to do. Lewis Hamilton, of course, struggling to breathe at this point. He does maintain the position, but not for long. 1 lap later, Radiant Slothz gets the DRS. He's gaining at a frightening rate.
So much smoke coming out of the back of that engine that it's actually creating extra downforce.
Oh,
as you can see,
Lewis Hamilton.
Easily, Lewis Hamilton, who cannot see anymore.
The paramedics look on.
Justin Freshbot here, somehow catching Sergio Perez in a Williams, looking for another podium, something that his teammate does not know the joy of.
Sergio Perez about to be humiliated in front of his home crowd. He's hit Sergio Perez. They've come together a few times this season, and
it's an easy move. Freshbot, surprisingly.
Sergio Perez being laughed at by the fans. They are not happy with him now.
Somehow with DRS pulls away from Perez, now chasing down Daniel Ricciardo. He's got 2 laps to make up 4.5 seconds. Can he do it?
He has not been able to.
Yuki Tsunoda suddenly ahead of Sergio Perez. Another driver for Justin Freshbot to defend from as he goes through the stadium section. They're chanting Justin Freshbot.
Is it going to be another photo finish between these two on the final corner? It's going to be close, but it's the race for Justin Freshbot and Radiant Slothz.
Incredibly gets a points finish with his steam-powered car. Lewis Hamilton, unhappy that the lung disease he's caught during that race, but last pass in the pit straight. Justin Freshbot, a deserved driver of the day, you have to say. Took it from somewhere on the grid to third. What a drive.
Christian Horner celebrating another Red Bull win. It's becoming commonplace at this point, and they're going to win the championship. They probably already have won the Constructors' Championship, but Max Verstappen finally gets a win once again, which we haven't seen for a few races now. Red Bull are like, who the hell's that? We only know about the Mexican guy in our team. And there we are on the podium. There's a Williams. It's a very mixed one this time. We've got McLaren up there as well. Daniel Ricciardo avoiding collisions with people after a few dodgy races recently. Back on form. As is
tradition, Justin Freshbot in third will be ignored by the other 2 drivers on the podium.
Barely gets any TV coverage, but that's the end.
The picture at the end.
And now for the final results. Of course, we know who the top 3 are already, but they were followed by Yuki Tsunoda, Sergio Perez, Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, Pierre Gasly, Radiant Slothz picking up his first points finish since France, and Lewis Hamilton round out the top 10 finishers. And in the Drivers' Championship, Sergio Perez maintains first position at the top of the table, closely followed by Yuki Tsunoda, Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. Slightly further back, but not out of contention, are Lewis Hamilton and Justin Freshbot, followed by Daniel Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc, Lance Stroll and Carlos Sainz in the top 10 drivers. Further down the order, in 18th place, Radiant Slothz, now on 10 points, is P18 in the Drivers' Championship. And over in the Constructors, Williams are maintaining their best of the rest position in P4.